awesome. Okay. Hey, this is our doctor's result. That was on. Doesn't sound right? Maybe I'm talking too close to it. Better? I don't want to get too close to this because I'll blast everybody out of here. Good evening. 3 people answered. That's pretty good. Good evening. That's better. I'm Bill White. My wife Joyce and I have been sponsoring Dr. Nasr's lectures for umpteen years. If you don't know what umpteen is, that's a lot of years. First of all, how many people are here to hear Dr. Nasr for the first time? Oh boy. He always wants to know that. You take a quick count, did you? At any rate, all of our lectures are professionally videotaped and cassette taped, and you can buy tapes of this lecture and previous lectures out at the desk as you leave. You picked up one of the forms on your way in, just fill it in and turn it in out there with your check, and we will get the tapes to you. Tonight's lecture, as you know, is on memory loss, Alzheimer's, Farkinsons disease, and other mental disorders. Dr. Nasr's next lecture will be on Tuesday, May 7th, if you want to write that date down. Same time, same place. And he will be talking about comparing Shaklee supplements with other brands based on his clinical studies and their clinical studies. Now, I have one more very important announcement. Dr. Nasr has put together a series of 8 lectures, seminars, if you will. And I'll give you the dates and the time. They're all going to be at 7:30 instead of 7 o'clock at this building, but in the next room. We had to get a larger room because this room only holds 120 people, and we expect anywhere from 200 on up with a series of lectures. The lectures will be on, I don't think you want to bother writing these down. These flyers are out on the table out there. When you go out, you can pick one up. Lectures will be on May 21st, June 25th, these are all Tuesdays, July 23rd, August 27th, September 24th, October 8th, and 22nd, and November 26th. Subject to change if necessary. Okay, pre-registration, $40 per person covers the entire series of lectures. Let's say you paid your $40, and when we get the tickets, we send it to you. The one ticket will be for all lectures. You will keep that ticket, and it'll let you in the door. If for some reason or other you cannot go to one of the lectures, give the ticket to somebody else to use. But you can use that ticket all the way through. Now, after April 15th, the price goes up to $50 because we think we're going to have a full house. And at $40, I think that's a steal. It's 8 lectures. That's only $5 a lecture. So if you just want to come to one lecture, incidentally, it's going to be $10 per lecture. You just want to come to one, it's $10. If you want to go to the series, you can go for 4 times that amount and go to all 8. So, I have one other thing to tell you about. First of all, my bride had a birthday yesterday, and I'm not going to tell you how old she was because I lit one candle, and she blew it out. I knew she'd be able to do that, but if I lit all the candles, I knew she wouldn't be able to get all 77 going out at once. I'm sorry about that. There was this fellow I got to tell you about that I knew that he was in the kitchen and he was walking around the kitchen with a fly swatter. His wife came in and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm killing flies." "Well, did you kill any?" He said, "Sure, 5 of them." "You did?" "Yeah." "What kind were they?" He said, "Well, there were 3 males and 2 females." "Well, how did you know?" "Well, the 3 males were on the beer can and the 2 females were on the telephone." That's all I can say for you.
You don't know how lucky you are and how happy I am that Dr. Nasr is going to do this lecture. Because maybe he'll help me understand something that I don't know. Probably figured out, Bill and I have been married for a long time. And right before he graduated, or the day he graduated, there was this picture that they took at the Fraternity House in Madison. And about 20 years ago, one of the guys on that picture didn't come to the reunion. and somebody said he had died of Alzheimer's. Now, who among us even had ever heard the word Alzheimer's that many years ago? Or knew anybody that had all these symptoms? And so maybe tonight Dr. Nasr is going to explain this whole thing to me, because I really don't understand it. And I'm sure that most of you don't understand it either. So, you've read this, you know his qualifications, he's the smartest guy I know, so Dr. Nasr.
Thanks very much. Oh, I have to turn something on here. Something I turned off. Okay, I turned both of them off? Are you on? Oh, you're this way. That's it. Okay. Okay, now I'm on. Okay, that's fine. Gosh, this is all technology. I'm not used to that. All this wireless waves going through my body, through my cells. So that is how it's happening. You know, this is how. That's what causes Alzheimer's. It is true. As a matter of fact, one of the causes of our problems in the modern time is the radio waves and microwaves and radio waves that goes through cities and through houses and through our bodies. And we were told this is absolutely safe. We'll talk about that through the lecture, but this is just started right away. I didn't want to start like that. Like I usually do, I prepare the lecture in the way here, except this time I took a little bit more time to prepare it, because preparing for the lecture, I have to have that many papers and that many paper slides. So I have no idea how many of those I'm going to be using tonight. First, let me get them out. Oh, I thought I did get them out. Alzheimer's now. Yeah, you're right. Okay. What's that? Too many waves. Actually, the folder that have all the slides in it, I just left it in the house. No, they are right here. Well, anyway. I thought they were in the house, but I would have given the lecture without it. So my mind was already switched, now switch back. There are some papers. I figured certain people might like to look at it after the lecture on the screen, but really, preparing for this lecture about the brain is very difficult to explain neuroanatomy and neurophysiology, neuropharmacology, and neuropathology to public, where we other medical students and doctors having difficulty with it as it is. But the more I follow the example, if you want to learn something, teach it. And then the best way to learn is to teach. So when I'm in trouble, I just start to relearn the subject again, and then I know more. The problem with the brain, we have decided to give this lecture. Me and Joyce, called her over the phone, and I always do, and tell her I think we should give that lecture, or the series of lectures. We discuss the reason why. Either one of two reasons. Either something I see in my practice unusual, like I see too many patients with Alzheimer's, too many patients with Farkinsons nowadays, or too many patients with cancer, whatever, or she sells Shaklee vitamins, and she sees so many of certain things, like remember 2 years ago, ADD, we give a lecture on that, attention deficit disorder, if you remember that, and she tells me, and we give lectures on those subjects. So the lecture today was designed for the brain because I have been doing lots of research on that. And that research started 15 years ago. And right now, I'm still doing research on it, and how to maintain memory, how to reverse it, how to stop it, how to slow it down, the memory loss, and with great difficulties, actually. However, with some success. It's not all lost. But also I'm dealing with a subject that everybody else failed in. Are you following me or no? So I don't feel bad if I see only 5% or 10% success, because everybody else has zero success. But I do see the results. I do see the results when I have a patient who have Alzheimer's disease, 1984, and his wife had Alzheimer's disease 1984 also, and they used to come. I used to give Shackley lectures in my horse ranch, in the farm itself. The horses will be down below and we are above, giving the lecture. It was really lots of fun to the people in that area in Antioch, and they always come. And then he developed Alzheimer's, she developed Alzheimer's, and I continued to treat. I succeeded with her to reverse her problem, and she's right now getting close to 100. So I don't know how old is she exactly, but she's close to 100, maybe 98, maybe 99 right now, I'm not sure. But she drives to the office from Zion, and she comes to me and tells me, those young people, they drive too slow, So I told her, I'm glad I was in front of you. So she catches jokes very well. And then I go to visit her husband in the VA hospital in North Chicago. Even he doesn't remember me. He still was my patient. So every month I go and feed him and sit with him for a few minutes. And I wished I succeeded with him also, but I did not. Another patient who have had advanced Alzheimer's, actually, and Joyce knows that person, who is the father of one of the Shackley distributors. And that person actually, memory right now is better than 1 year ago or 2-3 years ago. I called him. I couldn't go to see him also at the VA hospital again. I called him and talked to him, and he said, where are you? I said, well, I'm busy. He said, one day we have lunch together. I said, that was wonderful. Even he's talking to me in that kind of conversation. So there is hope. And that's because that reason there is hope. I wanted to pass to you these papers, and I want you to, each one, take a copy and return it back to me if you have anything left. We'll start with the front right here, and you can pass. I'm not connected to anything. Okay. You just pass it around. If each person gets a paper, and then don't read it. This is for the end of the lecture. Okay. It has one front, one back. Okay. And if you have a copy of that, if you're one of my patients, you already have one copy, that's okay. Just take one copy only. And if you are two together, you can take two copies, because you're not going to read the small letters anyway. So the other paper, I'm probably going to hold on it, even I was planning to give it to you, but I might decide to give it to you at the end of the lecture. I don't know yet. It's also very important. If we look at the human brain, I have my patient from San Diego. She just made it. I'm in the phone with her all the way in the highway. There is a policeman here. Don't speed up. There's a policeman here. Don't speed up. And she just walked in right now. That's good. So we're gonna start the lecture by we have to have like you know me from all my lectures. I have to give a lecture that after the lecture you become sort of expert yourself, that you can give the same lecture again to somebody else. So I will design it in a way simple that you can retain the information. I know how to make you retain information because I know which center does that. And if I see somebody sleep, I wake him up. So we're going to talk about, number one, of the anatomy of the brain, anatomy, and that's going to be of the brain itself and the brain stem. Now, the brain sits on a stem like a head of lettuce. It has a stem holding it up. And that stem is what Alzheimer developed in that stem. But it's still connected to the brain. And then under the stem, of course, you expect to see something. Let me draw a picture for you. Maybe that makes it easy. That's the brain, and that's the stem. Under the stem, you will see what? The spinal cord. I think that's easy. Okay. And the spinal cord is connected to the body with nerves. Right? And the nerves connected to the tissue with foot. It has a foot like this with two claws. Each nerve is called neuromuscular junction. Neuro means nerve. Muscle means the muscle right here. Junction means they're meeting each other. If this is anatomy, but to me, it's really, that's all it is, the brain in front of you. So it is basically a brain, a stem, a spinal cord, nerves coming out. So what's going wrong? What is wrong with that? What is wrong when we study the physiology? How does it work? How gets diseased? How does it die? Do we understand? And the most important thing is, of all, is you have to understand the brain is part of the body. The brain is the most important organ you have. Without it, you are not worth 5 cents. Because when you have your brain and you have your faculty and you have your memory, you have value. You enjoy life. Once you lose it, you are a piece of vegetable. Are you following me or no? Look, go to nursing homes, go to Alzheimer ward, and you see it. Your friend that you used to chat with doesn't even know who you are. Right or wrong? You feel bad. You feel, I wish one day I can talk to him the same way I talk. If it's your father, if it's your mother, if it's your sister, you say, I wish I can. And you try very hard. But you know, don't give up hope. Giving up hope is a mistake. This is why when we pass this papers, you're already passing it around, right? And I hope you have enough for everybody. And we discuss it in the end of the lecture. If you just hold on the excitement of reading it, because when you read it, you're not listening to me, and that's, you're going to miss part of the lecture. So the brain, it has nerve cells, and if we put the brain on the screen, we look at the anatomy of the brain on the screen like this. I don't know if you can see that or not. Really, it's part of the lecture, but you might say, why he's putting the stuff on? I need to know exactly what nutrition, what vitamin should I take to cure the problem. It doesn't work that way. Okay? We're dealing with a subject you spend a month and months in school to just study one subject. So be patient with me about it, because you've got to understand what you're dealing with. It is your brain. Once you lose it, you have no value. So you've got to understand. The brain starts with an embryo. That's a baby. The baby gets bigger, and the baby folds around itself, and basically what the baby does, the baby becomes a sheet of paper like this about the second week, and then it starts folding around itself like that, and it folds in two ways. It folds in two tubes. If you can see, there are two tubes right here. So what you see right here, actually, they are eventually going to fold to two. He's folding here the brain only. Did not do the body. Didn't do the heart and the skeletal system. This is just the brain. And that other part of the embryo becomes the head and the brain, and the tail with the end of the spinal cord, and this will become the mouth, and this will become the rectum, and then the legs will bud out, and the spinal cord will stop. And this hole will close, in the end, the beginning is open, after that it closes here, and this stays open. And that is the general thing about the brain. When a patient born, when a child is born, and that's very, very important to all of you to understand the truth about human brain and the difference between human brain and animals. When a human brain is born, this brain right here is developed, which you can see, that's 5 weeks, 13 weeks, and we have right here at 26 weeks, and this is at birth. That brain, when it's developed, it has absolutely no information stored in it. None. Zero. Except what God put in it. You understand that or not? None. Except no knowledge, no information, no recognition, doesn't know anything about anything except 6 different things every animal has to have, especially a human being. Have to eat, have to drink, have to go to the bathroom, have to go to sleep. So those called the involuntary things, they're born with the involuntary, must survive. But the rest is empty. And every brain in the world equal to other brain. And there is no single brain born intelligent and no single brain born smart. No single one. And anybody who tries to make these claims in the literature only is for a purpose of dividing society to sects, that some people born smart, Einstein, his children will be smarter than others. That's not true. And some people right now go and buying sperms and genes from people who they think they were smart. Doesn't work that way. When we want to learn, we have to learn knowledge from medical books. And this is knowledge from medical textbooks. It's not knowledge from National Enquirer as you read it every day. There's no difference between the brain of a woman and a man at all when they're born. Absolutely not. Some people might claim, woman born deficient and man, all this garbage talk is man bought it in himself in the scripture. It's not true. Some people say it was Abe, was a monkey and all of that. That's not true at all. This was not an Abe or a monkey. This was human from the first time it was created. Some people say the white brain was developed better than the black brain. That's absolutely nonsense. Because 92% of discovery of science in the world done by black people until today. Only 8% done by white people. Because before 18th century, only black Africa was controlling the civilization of the whole world. Casablanca, Spain, Seville, Cordova, all of this knowledge, universities, Timbuktu, all of this was from Africa. Was not from Egypt, and Africa was not from Europe. You know, Europe was gangsters during that time. Right or wrong? They were Vikings and Gascons. They had nothing. They contributed absolutely nothing. When they traveled actually in the 17th century from London to Spain, Madrid, they could not believe. They have street lights, they have universities, they have books, they have this, and here we are drinking blood and eating this, drinking wine, all of this. What kind of life we have? Read the true history. You will find that. And the contribution to science by women is 60% and men 40%. So that's not true, what we hear about degradation of certain things. And age. The older over 50 have contributed 80% of discoveries. Under 50 contribute only 20% of discoveries. Over 60 contribute 70% of discovery, and under 60, overall only 30%. Over 70 contribute 50% of discovery, and under 70 contribute 50%. You understand? So age, if God is so smart, and he creates smart people called prophets like Abraham, and he gets married at 75 and have kids and spread message, Well, if God knows what He's doing, He wouldn't have done that. And Noah even lived longer than that. So we have to believe, we have to have faith that we age our brain ourselves. That's what we are. Something we do, we destroy it ourselves. So this brain was born empty, full of cells, looking for knowledge. When that baby is born, he's looking in every direction. He's touching everything. He's looking at everything. He's watching everything, filling knowledge. If the knowledge is good, he got good knowledge. If the knowledge is bad, he got bad knowledge. Are you following me or not? You have a child born, and you tell him, oh, don't go toward her. Don't go toward him. Don't do this. Don't do that. He starts hating somebody. Are you following me or not? Hate or love is taught to a child when he's born. It was not born with it. Then we come to diseases like others, diabetes and Alzheimer and things like that. That's true. If the father and mother were sick and they have genetic damage in their brain, the child can be sick and have genetic damage in their brain. So not every child born is equal if they have genetic damage. Are you following me now when I say the difference between intelligence and genetic damage? What's the difference? Genetic damage is called DNA damage. That's not the fault of the person. That is, DNA was damaged because the mother was exposed to chemical or a virus that damaged the DNA. Is not the fault of the child. So your father, he works in a factory and he's exposed to lead, mercury, arsenic, MSG, nitrosweet, whatever, and then you are born and you have ADD, you have seizures, you have this, you have that. It doesn't mean your children are going to have it. If you do something like we're going to talk about tonight to reverse it, which we can reverse damaged brain in children. This is the first picture. I hope I don't spend more time on that. I'm going to speed up because really that's not part of the picture. I wish I forgot it at home. Would have been better. Anyway, that's what the brain looks like. Again, it looks like this, and this is the brain stem. You see like this. I told you it has a stem. So we move fast. This is the front of the brain. This is the back. So we call the front, the back, and the up, and the side. And that's what we divide the brain. The front brain, back brain, side brain. That's how the brain called. And this is what these people have called it. They call the area in the front, the area in the center, and the area on the side called temporal, means side, actually Latin. And then there is another one here called parietal, right here, which has the memory center in it. And then the back, for some reason, we switched from Latin to English to Latin now. We go occipital, means back in Latin. That's the brain right here. And all the areas you see right here, the points we're not going to talk about today, these are areas that relate to disease. Now we really should stop talking about the brain some more because this is my turn to talk myself about some stuff. If we look at the brain, it looks like this. It has a lobes in it like that. This is the frontal. This is the back, occipital. This is the temporal. And this is the parietal right here. All of this is called the brain itself. The brain stem is holding it up. And it's contained within your skull. And in the brain, there are cells right here. And those cells coming down from the brain to the body. And there are other cells coming from the body to the brain. There's some going out, some going in. Let me ask you, how many cells that brain has? Knowingly, every cell in your body right now, from the head down, every cell in your body has representation inside your brain. You believe that, right? If I take a pin and touch your eye with it, you will feel the pain, and you know exactly you don't want that because the brain knows that this is wrong. So every cell have representation. So the brain, as small, it has lots of cells. It tells the body what to do. When the brain dies, the person dies. If the heart is still going and the brain is still alive, we don't call the person dead. Even, I do believe in transplants these days, that people who sell kidneys and people who do transplants, I do believe that they take organs out before the brain dies, when the person is still alive. All they have to do, I said, I got a straight line, and he could just turn the electricity off, so the machine to start line, and go ahead and take that stuff. I know of countries around the world that kids running in the street missing organs. In Pakistan, in India, one kid had one kidney only because he gets kidnapped. His kidney is taken out and shipped to Europe or shipped to the United States for some other kid who wants to buy it. And the kid disappears for a while, and they release him after he heals and goes to his parents with a scar. It's happening. It's been documented. Maybe in this country too, we don't know. But I have doubts that the person who they take their organs out is 100% dead. This is why I did not sign for approval of organ donation. I said, no, I'm not donating anything to anybody. I've taken everything I got with me back with me. And that's the way I like it. Okay. How many cells in the brain control the body? The number is 200 what? 200 billion. 200 billion cells, each cell connecting with a nerve, because the cell itself looks like this and have a stem like that and has a tail. That's what the brain cell looks like. We have 200 billion of those. Each one of them is specialized in something. Some, it tells you certain things, what to do, and some tell you what not to do something. But the upper part of the brain, the top part of the brain, the 200 billion, it's always empty. Every morning you wake up, they empty. And they look for new knowledge next day. All the information they got the day before, once you go to sleep, they stored it already. Every single one got stored. And the cell is ready for new day. Isn't it wonderful? Better than a computer. It doesn't go in recession. It's empty. And if you don't fill it next day by something good, it will get filled by something bad. If you don't fill it with something good, if a child, he wake up in the morning and the first thing he does, goes on TV and watches this, his brain is filling with knowledge from TV. And that is dangerous. Or he goes in the computer, internet. His knowledge is there. That's all it. Or somebody else, some other child, he helped his dad in the farm. His knowledge is more developed, more mature. He sees animals, he sees plants, he sees vegetables. He knows soil. Are you following me? He has more value to his brain. Is developing. Or somebody else does wake up and learning mathematics, physics, do something that the brain likes to see, whatever. The brain always seeks knowledge. These cells have a head and tail, and those cells, they have a nucleus inside it with the DNA that maintains the life of the brain. So, if you are this person, by the way, the eye is in this side right here, so you know directions. It's looking this way. If you are that person, you will wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5, your brain starts waking up and start looking for knowledge. First, you start because the brain is connected to the sun. When the sun shines outside of the house, even you are in dark, your brain senses it's sunny outside without seeing the sun. You follow me or no? It's born diurnal, means daytime animal. Where animals that nighttime nocturnal, they know when to get out at night because they're born that way. Once the sun starts rising, not with the new watch, you advance your clock 1 hour, the brain doesn't work that way. Brain has its own clock. So it's really wrong to advance to the hour. This is all baloney stuff. You know why? Leave it as it is. If we have to wake up in the dark, wake up in the dark. Wake up in light. But, it confuses the person, the brain, somehow. What time should I start work? What time? And one day it's 6, now it's 7. Then it used to be 7, now it's 6. And people change their even sleeping habits. But we have no control over that. The DNA is the life of the brain. When it sees something or think about something, it transfers it down below right here to this center right here. Where this center right here, in the middle of the brain, it will start storing information. So all the information got in, stores in this area right here. And from that area, it sends message to the body if it wants to. Like if you see something, you see lightning. And then you know that's lightning. So the brain knows it's dangerous to go there and so on. But the brain says to tell the legs, don't go there. Well, if you see a flower, rose, smells good, say, yeah, that looks like rose, I remember that, and you go toward that. So the direction comes from here, what to do next, not from above. Is this clear so far, or are you getting confused? It is clear. Okay. You're taking your ginkgo and your vitamin E and all of that acuity? Okay, that's great. So 200 billion of those, they transfer electricity down the brain axon, electric activity. So the brain is full of electricity all the time, electric currents in every direction. And each one of those nerves is covered by insulation. We call it the myelin sheath, which is made from what? Lecithin and B-complex and vitamin C and vitamin E. This substance insulates the nerves from touching each other. There are 200 billion of them. But I have another little surprise for you. Each one of those is connected to 1,000 hands. Each cell has 1,000 hands coming out of it. Each hand goes to another cell called the helper cell. So we have actually another 1,000. Now we have 200 trillion cells in the brain active. So even with all of these numbers, only 5% of the cells of the brain work at one time, and the rest just spare or waiting to do something. And whenever something damaged, there is a chance of it gets better again. This phenomena of the brain can rebuild itself is shown in the picture I gave you to look at. In that picture I gave you to look at, you will see there's a picture, right? I don't have one right here, but I assume, do you have any more left, or you run out? Oh, I take the rest. Okay. What you see there, you see a guy looking at a lady in the tub. This is University of Southern California. And in that university, about 15 years ago, this doctor, which is Victor Henderson, he was treating this lady who was developing dementia or brain problems. And he noticed something, that she's losing her memory. So he went under the word hormones in the bottom right there, and he started giving her estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and growth hormone. After 5 years, she was killed in a car accident. So they did autopsy on the brain. And they find out the health, in your left side here, you can see the nerve that's dying, right here. But in the right, you see 4 new nerves being formed. You see that or no? So this means this lady, if she have lived another 5 years, maybe her Alzheimer would have gone. What did help her? We don't know. Was it the estrogen, the progesterone, the testosterone, the growth hormone? We don't know. She died. Since then, I start giving hormones to men and women, unless they have cancer. It's contraindicated for them. But in the meantime, we find out that there is a big question. If I take estrogen, I could develop cancer. If I take testosterone, I could develop cancer. From this article right here. So another article was published, and in the back of that paper, that they discovered in January 2nd, 2002, that progesterone works against developing cancer, protects against developing cancer of the ovary. Of course, they did the research using birth control pills, but that's synthetic progesterone. So natural progesterone would have been better. So the reason probably estrogen can cause cancer, it could be because that's synthetic estrogen, or it could be that person susceptible to cancer somehow. But in general, estrogen or progesterone in her, and testosterone also in men and women is very, very important. Actually, men have estrogen also and progesterone. And nowadays, we are giving testosterone to women now. Now we are start giving testosterone to women. Now, there are newer articles say we must measure the progesterone estrogen men. But men, if you ask a man, I want to measure your estrogen person, he'll hit you in your face. But we probably do it without him knowing it. Because we finding there's certain amount of estrogen, progesterone must be maintained in men, certain amount of testosterone must be maintained in women. Women don't mind. If they take testosterone, they say, I don't care. But men, once the word estrogen, he immediately thinks just like Dracula. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it. No, I think there is. But actually, if you like it or not, when you eat sweet potatoes, when you eat wild yams, when you eat yams and potatoes, it has estrogen, it has progesterone in it, so you like it or not, you get in some anyway. So God gave us food, cabbage, and everything that it has estrogen, progesterone, testosterone in it. But how does the body tell? If you're a man, you will take the estrogen and convert it to testosterone and keep only a little bit. And if you're a woman, you will take the testosterone from it and convert it to estrogen and only maintain a little bit of testosterone. That's all the adrenal gland does. So this picture in front of you here, it tells you how many nerves the brain has. What goes wrong in the brain or the brain stem or the spinal cord, which let me show you the spinal cord, what it looks like. Or here's a picture, by the way, of the connections inside the brain. This is just to give you an idea about the nerves crisscrossing. So in the brain, not only we have 200 billion cells, they communicate with each other. Each one communicates with 1,000. So we have 300 trillion communication inside the brain, and those lines indicate that this is a real brain right here, but you cannot see anything. This is just a picture of it. This is from a cadaver right there. Another picture of a brain right here. It just shows there are connections from the brain to the middle part I talked to you about. You remember I told you the central part where the memory is stored? Or you forgot that already? Right here. That is, everything connects to it, and then it connects back and forth, back and forth. And then actually, when we cut the brain, this is real brain right here. We cut it, we see it in the middle right here. Like two eggs in this area right here. That stores the memory right there. Well, one of the things that's very important we're seeing in the brain, in people who have Alzheimer's, that the size of the brain gets smaller, and also multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's and many people have brain disorder, gets smaller, and the air, the cavity inside the brain, the cavities, the ventricles, they get bigger, so much space. But I really wanted to avoid going through details about the brain with you because you were just going to get more confused. But in the meantime, this is what we call the brain stem. That's what holds the brain up. And that's how complicated the brain is. It holds the brain up, but also holds the memory center right there. From the memory center, the dark is making it bigger for you. So it is not only complicated, you've got 200 billion nerves entering the stuff, and in such a small area like this. The hole in the skull is no bigger than the hole in this lid right here of the pen, of this pen, the cover. It's very tiny, and you got 200 billion coming, 200 billion going. So it is very, very complicated. In the meantime, it's very simple to understand it if we understand a little bit about nutrition. The next one is which one is that? The spinal cord, you can see, the real one is right here. That's a real person. And these are the copies. Nerves are coming out right here to different parts of the body. We take it up before you pass out. And then in every vertebra, in every section, we'll see, like here when you have the disc and the nerves coming out, we'll see so many nerves connected to each other, connecting with each other, telling each other information. Let us say I put my hand right here and this is hot. Immediately I take it off. What happened? The heat goes through a nerve, goes around the spinal cord, telling the muscle pull up. It doesn't go to the brain. Once I put my hand, it's hot, I pull it, the brain has nothing to do with that. It's called survival mechanism. But if it has to go to the brain, then it will take a little bit longer time. It's a little bit more detailed pictures about the nerves of the spinal cord. You can see that, right? It's nothing but a cord, 200 billion wires with nerves coming out of it. So that's some important thing we talked about so far. Let me take you now to the cells itself of the brain. We already talked about the anatomy. Now, number 2, we're going to talk about the physiology. How do the brain cells work? How do they communicate? How can we get them healthier? To do that, I'm going to draw a picture of a brain cell much larger. And that's a brain cell right here. And that cell have a nucleus, which have a DNA. And for this cell to function, it must have certain nutrients. How does the brain get its nutrients? Through what? through the blood, which is coming from the heart, which is carrying the nutrients from the food you ate. Correct? What nutrients, what things does the brain need? What kind of nutrition? Let us cover it very fast. The brain needs protein, and it needs carbohydrates, it needs fat, it needs vitamins, it needs water, it needs minerals, it needs oxygen. When those nutrients get to the brain cell will not take them in unless we have something else to put them in. The food doesn't enter the brain without something right here called hormones. The hormones are the one put the food inside the cell. The insulin put the sugar. The estrogen put the calcium. And so on. Every nutrient has a hormone to help it to go inside the brain cell. If we have a deficiency, let me ask you a few questions in the way. If we have a deficiency of blood going to the brain because the heart is not working, would the brain suffer? If we have blockage in the carotid, would the brain suffer? If we have a diet going to the cell, it has deficiency of protein or carbohydrate or fat or vitamins, would the brain suffer? If we have a deficiency of hormone, would the brain suffer? Okay? If we have chemicals coming with the food, such as in air, chemicals from the air like carbon monoxide and all the pollution in the air, would this affect the brain? If we have chemicals in the water coming to the brain, would this affect the brain? Like lead, mercury, arsenic, all these heavy metals. If we have food additives, MSG, NutraSweet, saccharin, food coloring, things that supposedly safe, called safe for us, and proven not to be safe, would this affect the brain cells or not? We call all of these things, we have a name for it, we call it free radicals. What does the free radicals do? They can damage the brain. So if you really want to summarize the death of a brain cell, you can summarize to the following. Number one, lack of circulation led to it. Number two, lack of nutrients to it. Number three, lack of hormones to it. Number four, too many chemicals coming in. Number five, you will say the free radicals that they accumulate inside the cell, nobody is removing them. So that will take us now to the next topic, which will be the topic of next lecture, about why do we need food supplements. But I'm going to summarize it a little bit for you right now. If you have a cell, brain cell, which has a DNA right here, and being attacked by free radicals, what substance we have in the blood and in the wall of the cell and inside the cell that gets rid of that? What would we call that substance? Antioxidant. In the bloodstream, we call it vitamin C. In the cellular wall membrane, we call it vitamin E. And inside the cell itself, we call it beta-carotene and B-complex. And we have other things like lutein and lycopene and selenium and other things We just have lots of them we're not going to talk about. You notice something here very important, that each antioxidant has what? Has two hands. Are they open or closed? They open. What do they do? When they see in the bloodstream, when they see chemical, free radical, what do? They grab them and they take them out. So this vitamin C here, and next to it I give you another one because this person just took a new batch of food supplements. This vitamin C number A and vitamin C number B, which one is good for that person? A was already oxidized, with the hand already saturated, or B that's still ready to take two more free radicals? B. This is why we tell people, when you go and buy antioxidants on sale, and it tells you, well, we got 1,000 tablets, each one have 1,000 milligrams in it for $5. One question has to come to your mind. Is it antioxidant freely or oxidized? They wrote down antioxidant. Who gave them the formula? If you read the label on the bottle, it tells you in the bottom that this company do not make any medical claims whatsoever about this product. Every single vitamin company in the country have that label underneath it. Here they are in the big headlines. We have antioxidant on sale. You can take it. And the little line says we do not make any claim. If you have any question, ask your doctor. You've seen that, right? So, which one of the two would you say is good for me or you? A or B? B. What happens if I bought 1,000 tablets of the A and took it? What would it do inside the body? Somebody say nothing. But I probably need a better answer than nothing. It becomes another free radical. That's true. And itself, it has to be removed. Another vitamin C will come underneath it and grabs it and walk out with it. So for every bottle you bought, you need to buy a good one to get rid of it. Then they must pay you to take it. So whenever you buy antioxidants, buy the most expensive you're going to find in the market. I don't care which company. I prefer Shaklee, but if you prefer something else, buy it. But in my experience, don't go cheap when it comes to antioxidants. You can go cheap with herbs sometimes, even some of them contaminated with all of this, but at least antioxidants, the A, the B, the C, the E, you can't go cheap with those. Because nobody is going to tell you it is life or death. Nobody will. The only person can tell you is me, and from my research I've done on Shaklee, compared to others, I find it to be much more stronger, much better. My family takes it for 36 years. That's the only thing we take. It's better. But if you find something you think is working and you have documentation that it is antioxidant made by lyophilization, fine. Go ahead and take it. But it's not going to be on sale. Any company going to make antioxidant that's going to be antioxidant is going to spend money and time to get lyophilized. Freeze-dried. You know what lyophilized means, right? You know, you don't know? You don't know biochemistry? Okay. Let me tell you. Freeze-dry, basically, you have to take the product, the orange juice or the rose hips, whatever, and take it fresh from the tree and put it in a container and cool it to minus 160 degrees centigrade with vacuum. It gets crystallized so rapidly and separated. And the vitamin part goes one way and this goes one part. It's called freeze-dry, like freeze-dry coffee. So freeze-dry coffee is expensive. It's not cheap because it has a flavor, right? You must have a flavor in the freeze-dry coffee, otherwise you're not going to sell it. To sell it with a flavor, they went through the expense of making fresh pot of coffee, freeze-drying it, get the powder. It smells almost like the original one. People bought it because it smelled like coffee. The same thing with vitamins. So Shaklee vitamins is being proven over the years. They do use lyophilization. They will not put their products on sale. After all, if a product is well done, it doesn't have to be advertised. Rolls-Royce don't put ads. Mercedes don't put any ads. They go up in the price. Any good quality product doesn't have to advertise. The motorcycle company, what's the name of it you have here in your... Harley Davidson, yeah, I forgot the name of it. Okay, I don't ride motorcycle. You know, I hear about it. I read about it. Good quality, good quality. I doubt very much. I don't know anything about motorcycles. I doubt, with what I have heard, that this company will go, our product on sale. I don't think they will ever do that. Why? They don't have to. The demand is there. You follow me? So anybody is going to put an ad in the paper and say, buy our product, and you get it in the mail, and you get all this mail stuff to promise you the world. If you take our product, you're going to be younger, you're going to be healthier, your disease will disappear, your sex life will improve, and all of this you read Longevity magazine, and it's nothing but garbage. As a matter of fact, the owner of Longevity magazine is in jail for misadvertising. So he switched to another name because he's not even a doctor or biochemist. And lots of the stuff was in the magazine was nothing but grass cutting from the yard outside. Grass cutting. At least it's not dirt. So the other antioxidant is vitamin E. Protects the cell from the free radical. And the same thing of vitamin E. If it is oxidized, it's not going to be as good as another vitamin E is not oxidized. And the third one is beta-carotene. If it's still antioxidant, it's different from the one oxidized, and B-complex and so on. If we have that system to protect the brain cells will never have Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinsons, multiple sclerosis, any of that. It will not. Even if it does have it, even if it did have it, we have proof here that we can reverse it, that the brain can regenerate itself. No wonder we discovered that every cell has 1,000 cells connected to it. And when you look under the microscope, what they do, when you try to traumatize the brain, like we did experiment, we put a probe in the brain and try to put heat, burn a brain cell, all you see is all these new cells coming, and eating away very rapidly all the stuff dead. And a new area with new nerves was made within about 1 year. A guy who had a stroke, couldn't walk, couldn't talk. 6 months later, he can walk and talk, right or wrong. What happened? Regeneration. So the idea of the lecture tonight, talking about memory loss, Alzheimer, multiple sclerosis, Parkinsons, and more. I got in the telephone message last night, essential tremor and other things. You know, all of these things basically come to one point. Life exists inside the cell of the brain. It dies from few things. One is a person born with defective DNA. 2, heart that's not giving good thing. 3, diet is not good. 4, arteries are not transferring. 4, chemicals, too much chemicals coming with the food. Do we have lots of chemicals, free radicals in our diet? We do? Okay. Let us draw a curve right here to show you from 1900 to the year 2002, from the year 1900 to 2002, the amount of people developed dementia went up. Parkinsons went up. Alzheimer went up. Strokes went up. Depression went up. Suicide went up. Insomnia went up. Is that true or not? Why? If we are so perfect, this is going up. Because we are paying so much attention to the outside world, a nice-looking car, nice-looking house, nice-looking friends, nice-looking everything, except yourself. You take care of everybody except your own self. And when the day comes that you will be hit by, God forbid, by a stroke that you cannot remember anymore, then you can say, well, what can I do now? Maybe it's too late. So, this is why we say, before it's too late, do something, keep these diseases from getting in you, and if you have it, let's do something about it. What do we notice between 2000 and today? What do we notice in the environment? Let us just analyze your life with my life together. Let us analyze our life together in this society together. From the year 1900 to 2002, what happened? The amount of air pollution went up. Food pollution went up. Radiation in the air went up. Radioactive went up. Is that true or not true? Can this affect the brain? Is that true? We have this problem, these chemicals, or no? If you deny it, then I will have an answer for you. You know, I hate preparing for lectures when I depend on somebody else. Okay. Well, anyway, I saw something in the newspaper when I was coming from Los Angeles, and I went to Kinko. I made a copy of it, and it was basically how much chemicals in the environment we are exposed to. And I was very impressed with the map that I decided not to find it and just put it in next lecture by the time I find it, because I cannot find it. So we just forget about it. Just to believe me, there are chemicals in the environment. Those chemicals in the environment can cause some of the free radicals in the brain. But there is another problem we cannot ignore. The amount of nutrients, antioxidants, and trace minerals in the food we eat went down like this. So can the decrease of vitamin B12 and B complex and C and E and all of that with the chemicals cause brain problems? Another thing we have noticed also on the increase, that we don't have to add more pages, we can just add it to one of these. We have also increase of stress in society, and that also contributes to brain problems. So covering all of this, it means then that we must protect the cell, and if the cell is already dying, we must inject in it some antioxidants and better circulation and better hormones, like I showed you in the article, and wait 6 months, a year, or 2 or 3 to see results. Most of people want to see results next day. With the brain, it takes about a year or 2 to redevelop new brain cells. It's not overnight thing. You follow me or no? But one thing for sure we can do, with these people with brain problems, from Alzheimer's to Parkinsons to multiple sclerosis, any of the brain problems, even seizures, with nutrition, we can slow the progress of the disease. If we don't cure it, we can slow it down. And that's what I have noticed in my practice. I'm going to look at this to see what I have not talked about yet. Oh. Other things that affect the cell that I haven't talked about are not only free radicals, sometimes virus infection can affect the brain, such as cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, chronic fatigue syndrome viruses, Coxsackie virus, can go to the brain and affect the brain cells and kill it. Some germs, chlamydia, such as spirochetes, such as Lyme disease, can attack the brain and can cause problems. And you know, we have Wisconsin here. It's very common. Some metabolic problems can affect the brain. A person might produce hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. That can affect the brain. So all of these factors lead to the death of the cell of the brain. And when the cell dies, then a new cell has to develop in place of it. If we give you a picture, this is something I saw on a medical magazine. Here's the pollution pictures I found it. The majority of women today will conduct approximately 1/3 of their lives in the postmenopausal state. Means without hormones. And this is the picture I was looking for early about the radiation. This is map came from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, State of Nevada Nuclear Waste Project Office. I didn't make it up. The government did that. Says that these are the nuclear power plant waste sites. These were the areas are stored. Whereas Wisconsin is right here, and there are in several places. Illinois has more than Wisconsin. New York and Massachusetts, you see the waste sites in all over the place. Waste site that has chemicals that radiate out and cause problems. Are these waste sites are safe? You heard about Washington State. You heard, if you read the paper, you heard about what's happening in Washington State. 15, 20 years ago, they detected leakage of radiation near the Columbia River, where the government has put plutonium in concrete tanks and starts leaking in the ground. Then the people of the area have, all kind of complaints to senators, congressmen, all kind of things. Nothing happened. They were said there was no way this will ever reach the river, will get out. They said if it's gonna, and then 2 years ago, they find it spreading with a speed about like 100 feet per year or something like that toward the river. You talk about plutonium, that the half-life of it is 1 million years. If that reaches a river like Columbia that feeds Washington State and Oregon and California, how many people will be developing cancer there in that area? You follow me? So I think we and the environmentalists, we have to think seriously about our government. What are they doing about our waste sites? It's good to have a weapon to kill somebody, but you got to know where the waste is going to go. That will take us to the next map I just saw recently in a magazine, and this is the nuclear fallout over us. The yellow means moderate. You know what the moderate means? Small, moderate, and large. Moderate means not small, not large. Moderate means a lot. And we can see most of the country is yellow. Can you see that or no? The interesting thing here, it doesn't matter where the fallout came from us or from Russia or China. It's still coming out from the atmosphere. Whatever goes in one country goes to another country. This map is all over the world. The whole world is covered this way. You follow me? Every country is this way. Fallout, fallout, fallout. Antioxidants is the only thing is going to protect us against death. You cannot block it. And that is something you should be aware of. I'm going to give you some information about when the brain starts malfunctioning, what you look for. The person will start having language problems, such as inability to find the correct words, such as using filler words in the sentence. Something is not the same. This is advanced stage, by the way. And talking around the subject, not in the subject. Talking around it. Inability to express your thought in writing. Inability to understand written languages. Inability to transmit messages from the brain to the fingers and so on. Means you hit something, you try to eat and you miss things, or your feet start missing, this kind of thing. Then there is more advanced symptoms that we really don't have the time to go through all of that, but through the lecture series I'm going to have this year, I probably will inject some of this information through the lecture somehow. Because I got lots of information here that the lecture time will not able. This is just a summary from a 2,000-page book. That's only few things I took out, but I still don't have the time to tell you all about it. The only thing I have time to tell you in the end right here is the summary. What can we do if we have a brain problem? That brain problem can be anything from memory to speech to balance to multiple sclerosis to tremor to anything you want to call it is still a brain problem. The first thing you must do, you must have the proper diagnosis. Once you have the proper diagnosis, you must treat the problem with medical management first. Means if somebody is having suddenly weakness or something wrong with them in the brain, we must make a diagnosis. Is it a stroke? Is it TIA? What is it? And we must treat it right away with the proper treatment medically. You follow me or no? If it is high blood pressure, then we should lower it. If it is a hemorrhage, we should stop it. If it's a blood clot, we should dissolve it. You follow me or no? You should not just waste time and say, let me think how many alfalfa I'm going to take and this and this. You can't do that. You've got to understand the brain is a very, very serious organ to play around with. And the second part, once you decided that you have a problem, you have to pay attention to the protein you eat and the shakl instant protein, vegetable protein is better than animal protein. Carbohydrate, the starches are better than sugars. Fat, the oil is better than margarine. And butter also better than margarine. I said that only because I was arrested once in Wisconsin. So I have to put butter to please the government here, okay? So I can get home tonight. But still olive oil is still better than butter. I have to put that in. And Vitamins, we must take enough vitamins. And if you need to take how much vitamin you should want to take, and you want to write to my office, we can mail you a sheet with the vitamin recommendation, and you can follow it. Okay? You can call and say, I'm on the sheet of vitamins, and you can figure it out. If you take enough ginkgo, you will figure it out. Enough minerals, enough water, enough fibers, and enough oxygen. Oxygen is not food supplement. Oxygen is air supplement that comes through exercise. Number 3 is stress management. You need enough sleep. You need enough exercise. You need to have a positive attitude. So stress, there's 2 kinds of stress. There is positive stress and negative stress. Negative stress. Here you wake up in the morning with an empty brain, happy, ready to go. The first thing you got, phone call, or somebody telling you, did you hear that? There's an accident on highway, so there is so many people get killed, this and this. That's called the negative information. Negative because nothing you can do to change it. It's just cluttering you with something you can do nothing about it. You follow me or no? There's no reason behind that. Or so-and-so says so-and-so about you. Or I saw your husband walking down the street in that area. Did you know that? All kind of bad information to make you mad. You follow me? That person, you tell him, listen, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that. Can you tell me a joke? Can you say something funny? Can we laugh about something? The positive information, when somebody call you and say, God bless you, how are you today? Mention the word God, means bless you, how are you today? 3 positive things. Let us go to work in the market. Let's go do this, let's do this, let's go have exercise, let's have fun, let's have lunch. This is a positive kind of thing. Are you following me or no? So, it is important to understand that people around you can affect your brain. And the more brain gets cluttered with stress, at your job, at your traveling, at work, at the highway, at home, the more is about to explode. Because it's making all the free radicals, and it's not getting rid of it. Then what you do, most of people do, go to the bar. Or to the refrigerator, like he said, the 3 flies, go and get beer cans. And that also, of course, is the stupidest thing you can do, because the worst thing you can give to the brain is alcohol. Alcohol puts it to sleep. And that's one thing you don't want to have to do to the brain. People have given me every excuse. My patients, make me feel good, make me calm, make me happier, make me this, alcohol. I said, I'm not buying any of it. I said, but if you like it so much, I can suggest to you that cocaine does a better job than alcohol. Why don't you get some of that and try it instead? You don't have to have 6 cans of beer, just 1 piece of cocaine then. But you're scared because one is legal, one is illegal. But actually, there are more damage to society happening from alcohol than cocaine. More people get killed from alcohol than cocaine. More crimes from alcohol than cocaine, right or wrong. But one is illegal, one is legal. Because once the people in the top, politicians like something, they make it legal to us. If they don't like it, they take it between each other, but they make it illegal for us. So another thing helps is prayers. Somebody asked me one time, how come we are Muslims pray 5 times a day? And I didn't know how to answer it. Then I was talking to a friend of mine who's a professor in Bombay, India. I was talking to him over the phone about medical matter, about nutrition and herbs and stuff like that. I said, do you know how to answer the guy who says, why you remember God 5 times a day? And he happened to be a professor of neurology, neurosurgery. He said, because the brain is empty. And during In the daytime, the brain always floating around, tries to look for something, and during prayer, you try to organize it in a way, connect with some creature God, that it makes you feel better. And because it cannot do it one time is not enough, you have to do it 5 times. That's his explanation. I liked it, but 10 will be even better. So the whole issue is this, that prayers never hurt anybody. That's all it is. And don't ever imagine that your prayers are better than somebody else's prayers. You don't know that. Oh, I pray better than he does. Well, how do you know that? It's one God and one human race. And everybody tries to reach through some way. This way or this way or this way. I think it's only one way. Now, prayers are important, exercise, and all of this. The last thing you must understand about the brain is detoxification. Detoxification. The brain sometimes have lots of lead, mercury, arsenic, aluminum in it, and those heavy metals can only be removed by chelation, which we start doing it now to remove heavy metals from the people who have brain problems. I think it's 8:30? Okay. Well, let me see if I forgot anything. No, I did not. How do you know anyway? In general, I did not. Oh, I did. Yeah. I wanted to show you actually, boy, this time is so short. Want to make a 3-hour lecture. The information from this lecture was documented in the American Journal of Medicine from Harvard University. And we skip that. And skip that. And then I like to go to this one here, which I showed lots of you many times. This paper was published by Harvard University to show you that the nucleus gets attacked by free radicals in the brain. Without antioxidants, it gets damaged. But the article also shows that 99% of the damage can be improved on with antioxidants. You've seen that before, right? Lots of you? So I don't have to leave it on, but if you have any question, you can ask me and I'll translate it to English. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple pictures before we close the lecture. Those couple pictures are important. I think this one from this one from a medical journal. You're not going to understand it, but let me show you. The clutter you see right here is a dying cell inside the brain. That's a real picture from real brain. But I have better picture with electron microscope I want to show you. This is a picture of a brain that has free radical spots on it. You see the darkness, like bruises? These are chemicals in the brain. How many cells under each one of those you think? That's right. Zillions, he said. That's true. I just want you to imagine when you have injury to the head by even a small car accident, how much damage that does to the brain. And some of it in my show on the face and the skin as age spots. So you can see that. So if your skin have it, your brain probably have it. So the picture here say, if it is in the brain, if it's in the face, probably it's in the brain. And this picture of a brain cell right here with the sludge buildup of free radicals inside. The slime, we call it the slime actually, that looks like a slime under the microscope. That slime, when we magnified it, it looked like this. That's when we magnify the slime inside the brain. So you're telling me now, what happened to my brain? How come I have Let me see the diseases now. Memory loss, because the memory center have some of these. Could it be removed? I give you a piece of paper to show that. The second, could it have, why does somebody have Alzheimer's? That's another memory center, because the same slime there. Multiple sclerosis, the same slime there. Parkinson's, the same slime over there. It's just a different section of the brain, because the brain is specialized in different parts. And whatever part gets sick first, that's the symptom of that area. So the hope from all of this is if you follow all of that, proper diagnosis of the brain with blood tests for hormones, viruses, nutrition, chemicals, autoimmune disease, not AIDS, by the way. Autoimmune disease like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, stuff like that, sometimes they attack the brain. Like if you have Crohn's disease, you are subject to have the same problem in the brain. If you have lupus, if you have fibromyalgia, if you have chronic fatigue, those things, autoimmune can attack also the brain. Diagnosis must be done. Treatment has to be according to the diagnosis. When should we use drugs? If the benefit is more than the harm. When should we use surgery? If the benefit is more than the harm. And that's a formula you have to put in your mind when somebody tells you, I'm going to give you a drug. He said, is the benefit more than the harm? He said, yes. Okay, I take it. If he said, no, you could die from it, so many people die, he said, I don't want it. Because you don't want to have to die from it yourself, to be the first one. The second part, pay attention to nutrition, which we're going to go over this in detail in next lecture. I believe it's in May 8th or something like that. May 7th? May 7th? Okay. Well, I have it at home. I will remember it. Okay, and that lecture, it will be about the difference between Shaklee and others, why we need food supplements. If you heard it before, you want to hear it again, you can come. If you don't want to, that's up to you. It's probably one of the best lectures we always give because it refreshes everybody's memory about nutrition. The course of nutrition I'm going to give is designed to transfer people to nutritionists, because in the end of the course will be an exam, and the exam, when you pass it, you get a certificate. So after the 8 classes, not every time, after the 8 of them, you will have question lecture number 1 and number 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6. Very logic, very simple, but if you don't pass it, then you don't get the certificate. Then you can take it over again. That is the class of this year. God willing, if we all alive next year, we will have another 8 lectures that's on the diseases itself of the body, how nutrition works inside the body against disease, but also in chapters. And after the 3rd year, there will be a different group. After that, hopefully, I will publish all of them in one book or something like that. And I made many promises in the past. I've never done it, so just hope that I might do it. So that's it. If you have any question that you could not ask me tonight, you can call me at my home, 847-295-0634. Or you can call me at my car phone at 847-571-3914. Or you can call me at the office at 847-356-9009. Okay, these are my numbers because I'm going to be taking some questions. It's already 8:35, 8:40 right now, and then some people might like to leave, and we're going to start from the front to the back. And then in the end, I will stay over to take personal questions if somebody have personal question, and if somebody have a private question, should maintain it to a phone conversation. If you need detailed answer, phone is better than asking question in front of everybody here. Are you following me or no? Okay. Anybody have any question about tonight's lecture? Yes. Babies with birth defects, it's congenital defect because the parents had some problems. That baby, according to the article, if it has antioxidants, they have a good chance of growing normal or close to it, even Down syndrome even, and maybe they will be able to produce children with normal life. But I do believe in the article from Harvard that it's being published right here that 99% success rate of correcting the genetic damage. Yes.
Why is it so hard to diagnose the Alzheimer's? It took 2 years for the doctor to diagnose my brother.
Why is it so hard to diagnose Alzheimer's? It's because we have not scratched the surface yet of the brain. We don't know the brain, and we never will know the brain. The brain is something that we have not been able to understand it like we did with the heart and the liver. Until today, we cannot transplant a brain. 200 billion tissue going and come. How are you going to connect them? So the problem with the brain, there is a philosophy in life. I adopted that philosophy in 1983. When I quit being the head of cardiology in the hospital, I think I know you then. That time, I'm not sure if I remember if that time I know you then. You must assume the worst going to happen to you in your life and try to prevent it. Hope for the best. But don't ever assume the best is going to happen and wait for the worst to happen. So we have to assume that we're going to develop memory losses, strokes, high blood pressure, heart problems, blocked arteries, chemical, cancers, and we have to get checked. And every year we have newer tests. And Medicare are getting better year after year approving tests that they didn't approve before. They're getting better and better. So it is becoming easier to do the test. The doctors are the problem. Because the doctor himself, if he doesn't know, you only can see what you know. But if you don't know, you don't see. In any field, right or wrong. In any knowledge in the world, you see what you know. But if you don't know, you cannot see. So if he does not spend his time reading preventive magazines and alternative medicine and family practice and this and review all of the new studies, he doesn't know. I just spend about 6 weeks. Each week on the aeroplane, 3 hours each way to Los Angeles, that's 3 hours each, reviewing 100 papers every 3 hours. And I haven't finished it. What did I review? I reviewed preventive medicine, internal medicine, family practice, cardiology, alternative medicine, and I learned things that I didn't know before. Even with all my information, I said, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Because it was a discovery probably 2-3 weeks ago. I didn't know about it. Then once I knew about it, I applied to the practice. So the lack of diagnosis is because of the lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge. There is not good emphasis on understanding the brain, because the brain basically, if you are hyper, take something to calm you down. If you're too calm, take something to make you hyper. And that's how the medication of the brain is being developed nowadays. That's it. Either hyper or downer. That's it. But there is nothing, we have not made lots of progress about Alzheimer's. That's even worse. Of course, because at the VA, which I used to work at that, most of the money used in administration and only 10% on patients. So what is it good for? They only have good salaries. Yes. Synthetic progesterone, yes. Yes. We make it naturally from sweet potatoes, Mexican wild yams. Yes. No, other company. Women International Pharmacy, they make it. They make it for public. They make it for me. Okay, mine is different. They make it for me. Mine is about 1,000 times more concentrated than you get it directly from them. That's my formula. This is why it's different. My formula, you may use about 1/10 of the amount of the others, and it gives more results. But it's the same pharmacy. Yes. I do not think. I still think genetic plays some role, but I do believe that it is 99% reversible, as the article I showed you from Harvard Medical School says. I showed the article to you that if the DNA is damaged, Alzheimer's develops. Do you remember it? Okay, I bring the article back right here. I show it to you again. Yeah, I did. That's the one there. Okay, right here. That article right here, that I said, the brain cells that when it gets exposed to the chemical without antioxidant, it gets damaged, DNA. And they right here says, which I'm sure you cannot see it from there, over there it says, there are a number of DNA repair enzymes, such as exonucleases, endonucleases, and specific glycolases that can remove these lesions from the DNA. However, the repair system are not perfect. It excises 99% of the lesions. So that is good hope. So I would say a person who have a family history of degenerative diseases has to pay more attention to diet than a person who does not have a family history of that. Okay, yes. I cannot hear you. What? Hormone replacement therapy for menopausal women. Actually, the next article, which I didn't give you, it says right here, hormone replacement therapy for menopausal women. That was the article right there. And what they did, they took a picture of the brain of a woman who have enough hormone, and the picture shows the white part, which I don't know if you can read it from there. I don't have a slide from that. The white part of the brain is a memory, how much memory she has. In the left is all black, no memory. This was done by a PET scan. And that woman with low hormones, that's her brain, is going to develop Alzheimer's 100%, or close to it, and osteoporosis and other things. When they replaced it, it came back to normal. And that we will distribute those in the future lectures when the real topic will be discussed in more detail. But all my patients there is no such thing called menopausal women, by the way. Because if I'm going to read the article to you, you will understand. This about 15 universities went in this research, and they say they selected 46 post-menopausal women between the age of 33 to 61. Okay, 33. So 33, according to them, was postmenopausal. So, in my opinion, my understanding, there's no such thing called menopausal, postmenopausal, posal, period. Because nothing pauses. life continues. And in the older days, we used to think that way. Because the period goes away, then it's menopause, then you don't need anything. Right now, it's been proven that we have to reverse that. And there are many things, articles I have here and pictures. I just had no time to show everything I have about the question you have here, but let me see if I have that one specific picture to show. Oh, here it is next to me. This is a picture right here on postmenopausal women. It's a woman postmenopausal right there. It says that this laboratory right here, it didn't. Anyway, it's a big laboratory, did the research on this subject, and they found out how the estrogen affects the body. And they say in the brain, for the past decade, investigators have researched the questions surrounding the results of menopause related to cognitive function, memory, Alzheimer, mood, and depression. And they found replacing the hormones improved all of that. That's another research, besides the two other research I have. But the other benefits, we have no time to talk about the other benefits through the whole body right here. That is not part of the lecture tonight. Yes. I said natural estrogen is better than synthetic. You can get it from us just by calling the office and I said I need the hormone and take it on your own. And you don't have to come. Just call and they send it to you. They mail it to you, $3 in the mail or something like that. And there is estrogen, there is progesterone, there is estrogen-progesterone combination, there is testosterone, there is estrogen, progesterone, testosterone combination. See which one you want. Or there is a better way, is to measure your blood level and see how low you are in this, how low you are in that, how low you are in that, and just replace it according to the exact level you need. Okay? Other question? Yes, ma'am. Phytofem, it has natural estrogen and it's excellent as a supplement for estrogen. It might not be enough, but it's excellent to do, and my patient, I recommend it to them. Okay. In the back there. When they don't want to take it. Alzheimer patient, like the article I was going to show, they tend not to care to eat or dress or do anything, basically. And the vitamins, in that case, we put it in powder. We get like 2 cans of instant protein and 1 large Vita C, 1 large Vitalia, 1 large E, and so on, the powder. Powder everything, mix it together with the protein, and take 4 tablespoons of that, mix it with ice cream or something they like, with like a milkshake, and have them eat it because they do like sweet. That's the way to give it to them. Yes. Everybody benefits from antioxidants, especially autism, because autism is a temporary problem. It's not a permanent problem. It's a problem was done on a local circuit, not global circuit. Not from the brain itself. It's a part of the brain. It does it sometimes, it doesn't do it sometimes. So that kind of confusion, because the global part inside the brain, called the reticuloendothelial system, that controls the messages going in and out, sometimes it gets confused and the same word gets repeated and so on. It's like seizures. And nutrition, yes, it does help. Yes. You heard about lots of things. Have I ever heard about anti-aging hormone called GF? I get everything in the mail because I'm a member of every magazine. So I read all of them actually, and there's no such thing. They have placental extract, they have plastrum extract, they have growth hormone extract, and each one of them I analyze, and I ask a question, and they will not answer the question. Especially colostrum. I tell them, where did you get the milk from? How do you know the animal does not have viruses or some dangerous disease? You're giving me the milk of that animal. I don't know. So how can I recommend something to somebody which I don't know the source? This comes back to the question about herbs. Why Shaklee herbs better than other company herbs? The only answer I can tell you is because most likely that a company like Shaklee will watch the quality of their herbs better than other companies. I don't think their herbs are better, but I don't think they have cyanide, mercury, arsenic, DDT, radiation, like you've seen in the paper. They've been talking about herbal companies found to have contamination. Are you giving me a hand to shoot? Oh. Okay. Oh, you got the hook? Turn me off? Okay, I do thank you so much, all of you, and we'll see you next month, God willing. Thank you very much.
Thank you all again for coming. Remember, on the way out, there's a group of top tables out there, and you can sign up for the lecture series. Remember, the price goes up April 15th. So if you want to sign up for the series, we'll help you sign up.